Hello, everyone. This is Chris Naji again. Today, we'll be discussing the issue of small and medium enterprise loans accessibility, as was mentioned by the senior special assistant to the president on small and medium enterprise businesses, Mr. Temitope Adekule Johnson, on January 4th, 2024. Yeah, it's a very, very welcome idea trying to look into the small and medium enterprise loan accessibility. But something that really got me worried is that he mentioned that only two banks are willing to partake in it. First is the Bank of Industry that is willing to charge 9%, and the second is Access Bank that is willing to charge 15%. But he did not mention the processes. How would they go about it? What are the criteria? But things I need to chip in this area is before we start disbursing money, before the money gets to the wrong hands, or before we start getting some group of people taking out the money and claiming that they want to go and give the money cash to the small and medium enterprise, we need to define what makes up the small and medium enterprise. That's a very important factor. We need to decentralize that process. The government needs to create a senatorial or House of Representative agencies that can that can that can help them implement a lot of these important policies. Because making policies from Abuja and assuming that people will hear of it and they will follow up on it does not work. They need to create a senatorial or House of Rep zonal agencies to help them implement their policies, especially policy like this. When these agencies are created, they have to mandate them with responsibility. Responsibility in some areas could be first trying to source those that qualify for the criteria. Second, helping the small businesses get through the bottleneck of application. Third, help them apply, teach them how to apply. Fourth, listen to them and their needs and be able to communicate that to the government. The government does not need to employ new set of what do you call it, new set of staff to run the agency. They can pull them for the overcrowded ministry staffs from all over the ministries, redeploy them to these zonal offices, and let them be the one to represent them. Also, the government needs to guarantee the loan. The government needs to guarantee the loan. If these businesses are willing to take that risk to give them loan, the government must be willing to guarantee the loan because there is every possibility that a lot of these small businesses will not have the criteria, will not have the necessary um, um, what do you call it, collateral to meet up with the loan. So the government needs to guarantee the loan. And that is the more reason why those agency offices are good that we need to set up. Because these are people that will go physically to inspect the area, inspect the facility, inspect the agricultural farm, inspect the person's business, inspect their bank accounts, their processes, and make sure that it's an organized process. If it's not organized, teach them how they can make it organized. Tell them what they expect from them in 1 to 3 months. Help them get through it. And when they go through all this, government when they go through all this, they will be better equipped to apply for the loan. And the government needs to make this loan the loan application as simple as possible. They need to make the loan as simple as possible so that these people can be able to go to get through this. And there is something that the government needs to do with regard to this loan again. The government needs to bear in mind that these are small businesses that are prone to failure. But we are risking it. Some of them will survive, some will not survive it, even with the loan. The government must try to understand why they failed. The one that failed genuinely should be assisted again. But this time, advise them on how to get around it. Learn from their mistakes so that when the next set of um, small business come for loan, we should be able to mitigate against problems like that. Now, for the fraudulent ones, they need to be punished. That is the reason why the agencies need to know these customers very well. They need to know their facility. They need to know where they have their businesses, what they do, how they've been doing it, how long has they been in existence. Okay, and the agencies need to submit their reports to the to Abuja office quarterly. Their reports should include things like how many small businesses they've helped to get out of this problem, how many applications have been applied, how many has been approved, what are the bottlenecks, how can we get around the bottlenecks, what view do you um what response do you get from the small businesses, how do we mitigate against some of the problem they go through. If we try to put some of these things together, we can be very sure that the success rate will be very high. But when we don't put some of these things in place, it will end up like it used to be in the dustbin. And if it's not properly organized, we don't be surprised that somebody will be somewhere giving those loans to his family members or to his friends that we are trying to run away from. Or somebody claiming, oh, I will draw the money into my account so I can disburse it as cash to the businesses. Also, the government needs to check and make sure that these small businesses, for the ones that produces, their 70% or 60% of their raw materials are sourced locally. They are not imported raw materials. The reason behind this is to get a boomerang, is to get a multiplier effect. If 90% of the raw materials are imported, it means that every money they get will go into importation. Then it doesn't benefit the economy that much. But if the raw materials are gotten locally, not only will it help the small business, it will also help the supplier source to produce more. It will also increase employment in other areas. The multiplier effect cannot be quantified, but it will go a very long way helping us. And one another benefit of trying to help the small businesses get through these loans in the long run, in the long run, it will help to reduce our dependency on foreign goods. It will help to strengthen our naira. It will help to reduce unemployment. It will help to reduce people, the citizen being dependent on big companies for jobs. It will create entrepreneurship in a lot of people because now they know the government is willing to do this. This is part of what the Western world does. China do it every time. I think in China's own case, they assume that the first 4 years the company will not make profit, and some are born to fail. But I will suggest in Nigeria's own case that they have a grace period for these businesses before they start paying back the loan. The government should give them at least 5 years, but do not distance the agency from the small business. Every year, the small business have to give them an update of how the fund is helping them. But they should know, they should teach them that after the fifth year, they should be able to start paying back part of the loan. And since the loan will be guaranteed by the government, the interest rate should be drastically reduced because the risk is less. I think if the government is able to put some of these things together, it will go a long way to help the small businesses get out of the problem. Because right now, they are competing with the so called big businesses. They are competing with the Chinese companies that are heavily funded by the Chinese government. We need to help the small businesses get out of this mess. We need to decentralize. We need to decentralize the Abuja office. We need to create agencies in every senatorial or House of Rep zone. Government need to guarantee the loans and encourage every banks to be involved because the bank of industry and access but might not be everywhere. They need to make every bank encourage banks to be involved in the application, and they need to make the application to be online for easy application. The online and paper form, fine. With this, it will go a long way to changing the people's mentality about the government and government objective. Thank you. If you are a leader, how would you disburse these funds?